Welcome back, YouTube pipe smokers. Muttnchop Piper here. Well, today's video is entitled Storytime with Muttnchop Piper. Okay, I've watched several other YouTube pipe presenters, and they have done videos on stories that have happened to them in their lives and passed on some personal information. Thought I'd give it a try. I've done 55 or 56 videos, and the majority of those have been teaching you about pipe smoking, about tobaccos, about how to approach different aspects of pipe smoking in different directions. And I thought, well, what the heck, I'll give it a try. I'll pass on, a story or two about some of the adventures that have happened to me in my life. And the way it'll work is if you watch the video and you enjoy it and you think, yeah, this is kind of cool, I'd like him to continue. Or if you watch the video and you're like, man, this is not for me, I wish you wouldn't do this anymore. This is how I want you to convey that information. If you enjoyed the video and occasionally you want me to continue to record stories of things that have happened to me in my life, then if you give me a thumbs up, I'll assume that you're saying, yeah, Muttnchop, that's pretty cool. I could stomach you passing on some stories from time to time. If you give me a thumbs down, then I'm going to assume that you're going to tell me, Muttnchop, those stories are pretty cool, but we really would prefer you just stick with teaching us about pipe smoking and tobaccos. All right, before we get started, I wanted to do a little housekeeping. I'm smoking my Falcon, and out of it, I'm smoking some Eric Nording Hunter's Blend. I've never tried it before, and so far it's pretty good. Okay, let's get on with the story. Now, as you know, I was a Marine for 20 years. I was in the Marine Corps. And this story is about the birth of my first child. Her name is Erin. My wife was really pregnant in December, and I was scheduled to go to the rifle range. Now, in the Marine Corps, you have to go and requalify with an M16 yearly. So I was scheduled for that next day. You go for a whole week, and then on the last, it's sort of like you practice for, because the job that I had, you weren't constantly shooting your rifle. So we had to practice for 3 or 4 days, and then the final day was qualifying day. So when you go to the rifle range, you start firing downrange right as the sun comes up. These targets, they come up and down. So the target comes up, and you have to be able to see the target. So we had the first group of rifle qualifying riflemen online, ready to shoot at that target as soon as the sun was up enough to where we could see it. Well, in order to do that, we had to go to the armory about 3 in the morning, get on these vehicles called cattle cars, and travel down to the rifle range. It took about an hour to get there, so we'd meet at the armory about 3, get on the cattle car about 4, and we'd be down there about 5 or so and get our ammunition, get our safety briefing, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, my wife has been complaining that her stomach was hurting. She's like, yeah, this is not right. I don't feel very good. I said, well, do you want to go to the doctor? You want to go to the hospital? No, I think I'm okay for now. I said, okay, well, I got to go to bed. By that time, it was about 11 o'clock, so automatically I've only got 3 or 4 hours of sleep coming. So I said, so if anything else happens, let me know, and we'll go. So I'm in bed and I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden it felt like a dream. I hear, my first name is Chris, so I hear, Chris, Chris, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a dream, because I don't hear it very loud. Then I hear, Chris, real loud, and I wake up and say, what? I jump up and I go, and there she is in the bathroom. She goes, I'm bleeding. I said, okay, that's it. Let's get in the car. So before we got in the car, her water broke, and we knew that we had to get there. Now, Camp Lejeune is where the Naval Hospital is. We had to travel on the other side of New River Air Station, is where the air element of Camp Lejeune is located. And that's where I worked. So we got in the car and we started heading toward Camp Lejeune. We got about halfway there. My wife says, okay, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm going to throw up. I said, okay, well, you just let me know when I got to pull over. She goes, okay, I think I can hold it for now. So we keep going. We finally get to Camp Lejeune, and anyone that's been a Marine or has visited Camp Lejeune knows there's a pretty long, I don't know, about a mile or so length of road before you get to the guard shack, or we call it a guard shack, where a guard stands, and anyone that comes to Camp Lejeune has to go through that guard shack. So they get to the guard shack, the guard comes out, can I help you? Yes, he guides people, he gives them passes, whatever. So we're going down that road, and about halfway down that road, my wife says, I'm not going to make it. I got to pull over. I've got to throw up. So I pull over right next to the guard shack. She opens the door and just starts throwing up. Well, in the Marine Corps, and probably every other service, it is not uncommon for a Marine or a serviceman to go to a bar, start chatting up a girl, and convince her to come back to his barracks with him for a good time. So automatically, the guard assumed that that's what was going on. So he kind of opens the door and adjusts his belt and kind of, saunters over with that look in his face like, yeah, okay, here we go. Got another drunk Marine trying to bring a woman to his barracks room. So I couldn't wait for him to slowly get to my car. So I rolled the window down. I said, my wife's pregnant. She's throwing up. I got to get to the hospital. And his attitude changed. It shocked him, I think, because he wasn't expecting that. He was expecting, hey, I'm bringing this chick on board. Can I let me go this time? Well, he freaked out. He's like, oh, go. So my wife got done throwing up. She closed the door and we sped off. But the funny thing about the story is that, he assumed that I was trying to bring a girl back to my barracks room when she was pregnant. And the way he walked over like a cowboy, real slow, and yeah, here we go. I got to deal with this guy trying to bring a woman into the barracks. And then the second I told him what was going on, his whole demeanor changed, and he panicked. He like, oh my God, go. That's all he could say. So she closed the door and we went on, and we got to the hospital, and we got checked in, and I think my daughter was born about 5 o'clock that morning. So that's just a memory that I have of, kind of the silly things that people do, and how things work out. So, well, I hope you enjoyed the story. If you liked it, I'll continue telling stories like that. If you didn't like it, then I'll refrain from doing those any longer and just focus on pipes and pipe smoking. So until my next video, I want to wish you and your family happy piping.